Okay, moving forward into lesson 7 in the HTML 101 series, you will get to learn a little bit about quotes and citations. I'm sure by now within your educational setting you've learned a lot about plagiarism and that it's important to cite work. Well, it's really no different on the web. If you're going to use somebody's content, a quote from someone, or part of an article, then you need to make sure you cite it correctly and quote it correctly. So we'll learn about that today. Going to go ahead and just jump out here and grab me a blank, well, not a blank, but grab an existing web page to open with Notepad. I might go ahead and grab my text formatting one and open it with Notepad, and that way I can go through and wipe a lot of this out, and we've already done those things, so get that out of the way. And then I'm going to save this as quotes and citations .html. And when you do this, it doesn't get rid of the old web page, so don't worry about that, as long as you just don't say file save. And if you say file save, sure, it'll wipe out the previous web page, so, or not wipe it out, but definitely change it. Okay, with this in mind, I'm going to definitely jump back and forth. There's a lot of information on this, so feel free to pause the video and go back and forth and look at it. We'll start out with cite. Here's a couple that I'll just go ahead and cut and paste and show them to you once we get them in the text document we're working in. So there's that. Pop this back up here. Get this out of your way so you don't see this. Okay, this cite is something that you might use for inserting a picture into your web document. In this example, I have inserted, theoretically, the picture of the stormy night would be here, and underneath of it or beside it, I might write The Stormy Night by Vincent van Gogh and when it was painted. And then, or maybe I have referenced a book such as The Odyssey by Homer, which was written between 750 and 650 BC. So I'll say File and Save, and we'll go ahead and look at that. Oops, wrong thing to look at. Go back over here to my computer, pull my files back open, quotes and citations, and what you'll see is The Stormy Night by Vincent van Gogh, painted in 1889. And as we're looking at this, you'll see that the Stormy Night has been italicized to give a little more emphasis to the fact. And what happens is, even though it doesn't say, cite or cite page or whatever, it does say it within your code, so you can prove that you did try to cite it. So let me enlarge this so you can see all of the text, and I'll kind of pause for a second. I opened a paragraph, I cited my work, I closed the cite, and I put that information and then closed the paragraph. So brief pause. That way if you have to pause here, you can double check it. And I'll minimize this. I'm going to jump back in here to where I've stored things to work with today, and we'll go ahead and show you what the address function, address tag does. It's Control C. Pull this up. There we go. Often you might want to put an address into a document, and this works a lot like the pre-align, the pre-tag that we had used earlier, but I'm going to say File and Save and let you see what that does when you do address. And instead of all this information, jumping across the page in a single line, because we used the address tag, it allowed us to put our address right in order through there as required. It broke the line where we broke the line. See what I mean? It's a good way of doing things. It also made it italic and put a lot of emphasis to it. So just makes it a lot better and more professional looking within your web page. Then we will go back. Let's pull some other stuff up here. This is where you might want to, like where you use abbreviations for organizations, groups, or whatever. You can put an abbreviation title within your document, and what that will do, instead of having to type out the long name, or at least on the page when they scroll over this, it will show what that acronym stands for. So let's give it a try. The TSA, and this is what you'll see on the page, is the TSA was founded in 1978, but a lot of people might not know what TSA is, so we'll say file save. And we'll refresh that. And you notice it's been emphasized with a little line under it, and when I scroll over it, it's Technology Student Association. So that'd help people out, you know, TSA, STLP, NASA, a lot of different acronyms in use out there. And someone reading your page just might not know what it means, so it's always good to, at least at the beginning of your page, make sure that you use that definition and abbreviated title so that people will know what you're working with. Block quotes, here we go. This will take information and should tab it in and align it like you would do normally if you were writing a paper to turn into your language arts class. I'm going to go ahead and copy that and jump back over here, place it into there. What you see within this is block quote cite. Here is where I obtained my quote from. This will not show on the page, but it will show in your code, and that way you can, you know, yes, I did cite my work, and then I'm like, according to NASA, the International Space Station, and let's go ahead and look at that. And you see, like above it here, let me get back here so you'll know that what's done. I put the paragraph information placed into a block quote will be indented by most web browsers. Let's give it a try. And as you see, it went ahead and it indented this block quote. So according to NASA, the International Space Station, and it doesn't show the address, but you can, you know, go back, look at your code, or if I did it here, like if I right click and say view source, then you'll notice that this is here. And somebody wanting to check on your cited information could just click that link, and sure enough, it would, you know, well, it jumped them to the code on it, but if they copy pasted that link into their browser, it would jump them out to the web where you obtained your information from. Go ahead, get here, skip a couple lines, and get back to, okay. This is what you would use for short quotes, and all this does is basically place quotation marks. Seems a little redundant because all it does is place quotation marks around the quote itself, which, you know, one might wonder why I might not put, you know, just put quotation marks around it. But when you do it this way, you're saying that, yes, this is a quote, and it is from NASA Space Station. So, say file save, jump back out here, and refresh my browser. And you notice it put the quotes in for me. Like I said, you could put the quotes in yourself, but that's not, it's not proving that you quoted something. If you do it within your code, you can say, yes, I did quote it from that site. And you might, you know, you might even add that in there later on with some sort of hidden text so that other people would know that you did do the quote intentionally. Let's see what we got. We got quotes, block quotes, we have cited work. Is there anything else that I wanted to cover? Oh, okay. Here's one last thing. This little tag here, this will make your text read right to left. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, why would you want to do that? Who wants to read my web browser from a mirror? But what it does is, there might be a time that you're writing a web page for people that speak Arabic or Persian, Urdu, if I pronounce that correctly, and Hebrew, Yiddish, and some other Jewish languages, plus a lot more. So let's copy this. Control C. Go back out here and place it into our web page. And this might be a good time to show you something. Let me see. I'm going to minimize this a little bit. If you put in a less than, a exclamation and 2 dashes, and put the information between these tags does not appear, it won't appear in your web browser, and I'll show you that in a second. So it might be a good place for this is the next code is used to write languages that are read from right to left, and that way you'll know what we did with this tag. The BDO direction equals right to left. Let's see. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. Oops. Let's just put rain falls mainly, since we're starting to push ourselves out of room. File, save, and we'll go out here and look at this. If you notice, the rain in Spain falls mainly is written completely backwards, which would be a great help to me if I was trying to write for someone in Hebrew, but I've been taught to read left to right, because I could just type it the way I know, and the browser would reverse everything for me. I hope you've enjoyed Lesson 7, and I hope you'll join us for Lesson 8 to learn more about the HTML programming language. Thank you.